So I finally finished up all the mods I'm doing on my Sega Genesis Model 1. This is a non-TMSS, something like that. Main point is it doesn't have the license by Sega at the beginning of the whatever game you're playing. Let's see, I'll zoom in a bit here. I did a single switch region mod. Let's see. Some people suggest 2 switches, one for PAL and one for JPN. There's no need for that. Just use an on-off-on switch. And you can solder directly to JP3, JP2, and ground, and that'll produce the same thing. Also, some people recommend taking composite directly from the video encoder chip, in this case Sony CXA 1145P. There's no need for that. You don't need to grab composite directly from the video encoder. The circuit is built right into the board. Just grab it directly from the composite pin on the AV jack. I also grabbed stereo audio from the Yamaha 2612 and let's see, Chroma and Luma for S-Video directly from the CXA 1145, and I used both the ground pins on there as well. I also have ground soldered to one of the 7805s for composite and stereo, and I also have ground soldered to the second 7805 for the HALT switch on the Motorola 68000. Here's the simple video circuit that I built. Let's see. Let's go ahead and adjust that. Some people suggest a 2SC 945 transistor. I always go with a 2N 3904. Those are the original transistors that were used in these types of boards to begin with. They seem to be compatible with everything, and I like them more. So you can use the NTE 85, a 2SC 94, or 945, excuse me, and, or a 2N 3904. I honestly recommend the 2N 3904, frankly, because it's cheaper and it works just as well, and it's fine. I will go into a bit more depth about the tiny little circuit I built to amplify S-Video, but I'll give you a demonstration of what the mods will look like. And still don't have a tripod, so this is a little difficult for me, but yeah, that looks good. You know what, before I do this, I'm actually going to screw the heat sink back onto these 7805s. Simply because these generate a crap ton of heat, and they are liable to burn out. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this on. Oh, good tip. Old pill bottles make for great screw holders. They're nice and deep, plus they're easy to get at. So I highly recommend using old pill bottles to hold your screws. You don't want these things floating around. They get in the way, plus then you have to worry about losing them, and yeah, no, not fun. Where is the audio cables? That one's not audio. I'm using that for video at the moment. There you are. Alright, here's what composite looks like. And I'll go ahead and show you actually with a region locked game. Oh well. I guess the console needs power. That's probably an essential thing. Be careful when plugging these in. You don't want to be touching the solder points on the bottom where the electricity comes in. Hold it by the plastic. Alright. Could be that HALT is activated. No, it's not. More than likely, that means you gotta do this. There we go. I'll zoom in a bit for you. Direct composite already looks pretty good on the Genesis, but I'll show you up close the main difference between S-Video and composite. So here's Comic Zone with American region and coding. Let's go ahead and switch to NTSC JPN. Alright, good, that works. Let's go ahead and flick this switch all the way up for PAL. Now, if this was on my CRT, that's over there, PAL, since it's 50 Hertz, would scroll across the screen and look horrible, but I have PAL here, or, well, this monitor corrects it. A CRT won't. And frankly, PAL's not really necessary on the Genesis, but I'm doing the mod, so I thought, why not? Alright, region encoding works. Let's go ahead and stick in a better game. Sonic 2. One of my all-time favorites. Well, yeah. I actually had a Genesis 2 growing up, and the only game I had for it was Sonic and Knuckles. So that's more of my favorite, to be honest, but Sonic 2 is high up there. Sega. Alright, it looks good. Alright. This really doesn't look all that great. Let me move this down. My camera actually does it a lot more justice than how it looks on the screen. It's quite blurry on the screen. There's some minor jail barring. Yeah, you get the point. I'll show you a demonstration of the HALT switch. As you can see, it pauses the gameplay, but the music keeps going. As soon as I flick the switch back down, there we go. Alright, let's step it up a bit. Let's go ahead and switch to S-Video. That looks to be about as good as I'll get. We'll go ahead and switch on S-Video and hope it works. It does, good. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is already a huge step up from composite. Again, my camera over glorifies it a bit. There is a bit of jail barring, but honestly, it's so small, and it mainly only happens on LCDs, and the majority of people are going to be using CRTs, at least I imagine, with a Genesis, so... Alright, so here's how the board looks up close. Here is region modding. Again, some people suggest two switches. I just use an on, off, on switch. Middle. The thing about the Genesis is If there is no region encoding, it defaults to what is known as plus 5 volts, which is American region encoding. So you don't need to encode USA on any Genesis or Mega Drive model. If you cut all of the traces here on the JP pins, it will automatically default to plus 5 volts. Here's a closer look at my circuit to amplify S-video. The solder work on the bottom is okay. You use a, like I said, a standard 2N 3904 transistor, and let's see, a 30 ohm resistor for chroma. Chroma does not need to be amplified. You actually want to put a bit of termination on the chroma signal, if you can believe that. As you can see, I actually have positive wired out on the capacitor, as well as and negative going into the TV. Let's see, that's 30 ohms? Yeah, 30 ohms. This is 27 ohms. And if I flip the board over, which is easier said than done, because I don't have that mess figured out yet, which I will soon. Let's go ahead and unplug the controller. Alright. Here's how it looks on the bottom. I tape everything down nice and tight. Well, except for the things that I haven't taped down nice and tight yet. This is ground for composite as well as stereo audio. This is ground for HALT. Here is the composite video out terminal. You can wire these directly to an AV jack and they'll be just fine. Let's see, audio I have underneath some electrical tape, but I know that green is right and white here is left. Here I have, and this will vary depending on your Genesis. Some Genesis models have the video encoder flipped around, so you might actually be soldering here rather than here, but solid orange is chroma, multicolored orange is luma, and then I have the S-video jacks on each side soldered to both ground pins on the video encoder. What you can't see here very well is that I'm grabbing 5 volts DC directly from the video encoder chip. There is no need to grab 5 volts directly from the 7805. Again, it's fine if you do that, but there is a 5 volt pin directly on the video encoder chip. Since it's there, you might as well use it. Anyways, that's about it, guys. I can show you a bit more on the front of the board. HALT, I soldered directly to the top of the motherboard. That seemed to stick pretty well. I can't think of anything else. This I'm actually gonna use some electrical tape to cover all this up, and then use some double-sided tape to mount it on top of the 315 5313, I think it is, chip. This one. That's a good place for it, and yeah. So this is more of what I've been doing. I'm going to be posting guides in the near future. They're coming. Don't worry. Just haven't gotten there yet. Just need a bit more comfort. But I will be posting guides here in the future on how to do these mods yourself. If you know anything about electricity or soldering, well, preferably both, but either or, you can do these mods. They are fairly simple to do, and and on the next Genesis iMod, I'm definitely going to make a guide for that. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching the video, and I will be uploading more here in the coming days and weeks.